I'm Katie Sarah Zale, one of the 8 editors who came together about 6 weeks ago to give birth to Winter in America again. Its inception, I suppose, began a couple of months ago when I emailed a poet who had worked with Sam Hamill on his anthology, Poets Against the War. I was deeply concerned about U.S. domestic issues, Gaza and Ukraine, and U.S. culpability for problems around the world. So I wrote to my friend. I said, it's time for poets to speak out. It's still reeling from the death of Sam Hamill 5 years prior. He said, but Sam isn't here. And I thought, but you are, and I am. I recalled during the Arab Spring when Wael Ghanem started a movement following the killing of Khalid Said under Mubarak's regime in Egypt. And he said, I am Khalid. We are Khalid. So I thought, I am Sam. We are Sam. So following the US presidential election, I contacted Paul Nelson and suggested, let's do a call for poems. And he jumped on the idea with, yes, Paul, yes, we can get a book out before the inauguration. I thought, whoa, but we did it. In the call for poems, we used Sam's words. These are the voices of our poets. They come from every segment of society. They also celebrate our country by expounding a compassionate view of the universe. A government is a government of words. And when those words are used to mislead, to instill fear, or to invite silence, it is the duty of every poet to speak fearlessly and clearly. So close to 300 poets responded to the call. Greg Bem's Carbonation Press agreed to publish, and Roberta Hoffman created the cover based on an image by her son Jasper. So we editors worked day and night, and that is not an exaggeration. We worked day and night reviewing the submissions. Bless their committed hearts. I am grateful to them and to you for showing up during this uncertain time. And I'll give it to you, Paul.
Thanks, Katie. Yeah, we thank the editors so much, the co-editors for really making this work. Allia Abdullah-matta, Gabriella Gutiérrez y Muhs, Robert Lashley, Roxi Power, CChristy White, and Theresa Whitehill. Um, had we known in advance exactly the work it was going to be, we probably wouldn't have done it. Uh, I mean, to have 3 and 4 2-hour Zoom meetings a day and to plow through it when you're sick is something that takes some recovery time. Me at 63 years old thinking my energy is infinite, and I learned no, it's not. And so just kind of getting back up to speed here in the last week, but having this beautiful book and a book that goes a little deeper than fuck Trump. I mean, I'll just say it like that. We wanted a gesture that came from a deeper place than that, and I think we succeeded wildly. And thanks in large part to the editors and the networks that they have and the folks that they invited. And of course, to do something this quickly takes a press that is small, that is nimble, that is dedicated. And Greg Bem agreed to it. His Carbonation Press has only been doing things for about a year. They published one of my books, and they're publishing a lot of books. And so we give thanks to Greg Bem and Carbonation Press, based in Spokane. Thanks, Greg, for all the work that you do, for your manner throughout this process, and for getting this done in this way. So why don't you have a few things to say for us?
Great. Thanks, Paul. Thank you so much. And I'm going to, while I talk with my brief statement, share the cover because we haven't even seen it as a group today yet. And so should be on the screen now. Does that look visible?
Yep.
Yep.
Fantastic. So, yeah, Carbonation Press is a small press located on the lands of the Spokane tribe, which is commonly called Spokane, Washington, United States. Carbonation's not a nonprofit and it's not a for-profit, but an ongoing hybrid publication project, and it was started in late 2023. Since its founding, we've published 7 individual author titles, most recently Found Confetti by Seattle-based Ria Molina, and other works by Chat Pierre-Sat, Paul E. Nelson, Eric M. Acosta, Catherine Owen, and Zachary Charles, with forthcoming works including a bilingual collection by the Brazilian author Flavia Rocha, the Taiwan-based Alex O. Bleecker, Matt Treese, who's here today and is in the anthology, Theresa Whitehill, who is also here today and is in the anthology and was an editor for the anthology, and the Spokane-based David Klenda, aka 86. I created the press after years of supporting small press activities around the world, as well as leading small publishing projects of my own, and often these were tied to conceptual performances and events. We support writers and artists in the publication of their unique and oddly sized work, though now it tends to focus mostly on longer works that include additional literary components like interviews, prefaces, and other dialogic elements. Carbonation aims to publish the work of writers spanning different genres and forms in ways that encourage publisher-author collaboration and support aspects of smaller literary communities. Each publication has limited printing and can be supported with online distribution. We strive to seek out and include diverse voices, and with this anthology's release, we are actively arguing against neutrality. I personally believe in the power of responding to the myth of political and social neutrality through elegance, compassion, and intellectual discourse. And as I think back on the many anthologies I've read and engaged with most recently, I recognize the immediate impact and the staying power of a collective of voices. And I'm really grateful that you're all participating in this reading as an addition to that. And to allude to Cecilia Vicuña's concept of the palabrarma, or word weapon, these words hold their function both now and decades from now. Concerning the process of working on Winter in America again, which I believe is a true phenomenon, it's been an honor to work alongside the incredible, intelligent, and critical editors, the designer of the book's cover, Roberta Hoffman, the cover artist, Jasper Hoffman, and of course, all the writers who submitted and who were included in the book. Before this book, I had zero experience working on an anthology. Before this book, I had never been exposed to so many literary voices in one space. Before this book, I had never released a book in approximately 1 month. And the process has been really messy, filled with both organization and chaos and many Zoom meetings. But I believe it serves as a fantastic community milestone for the press, for me, and all of those involved. As a result of this book existing, and it exists, I show this as proof over our digital space here. I hope you'll consider sharing the book out widely. And if you're able to, organize distribution at your local bookshop, library, or community space, and consider staying connected to those that are here today, those that are in the book, those that are all arguing for the same thing, even if their values are aligned with yours or adjacent to yours. Finally, I'll just mention that you can stay connected to the press via my website, which you've probably already seen, which is gregbem.com. And Carbonation Press is on Instagram at Carbonation Press. I'll throw those links in the chat. Of course, there may be additional channels that open up for communication as we move forward and respond to our tech oligarchs. But for now, Instagram is relatively open and available for staying active. If you have more localized communication platforms, please share them with me. I would love to bring Carbonation Press to where you are. And with that, I think we can open up the reading. So I'm going to defer to the list that is posted in the chat. And if you are on that list, please introduce yourself, your name, and begin the reading. And I'll turn it over to Allia to begin our reading today.
And Allia, would you take a moment to just share something about the editor's experience? If let you speak for everyone at this time, anyway.
Well, good afternoon. Well, it's good afternoon here where I am. Good afternoon, everyone. And it's lovely to see the faces with the names. I mean, I feel like I know so many of you from just, that process. So it was really deep and beautiful, difficult, amazing. I've never done anything like this in such a short amount of time, but with so many voices at once. And I was really enriched by it, even those days when I couldn't read anymore, you know. We all brought different poetics, we all brought different compassion. We respected one another's voices and aesthetics, and, you know, we just really wanted to try to grab all of the goodness that we were receiving in the submissions. And I think I can't believe we did it. I can't believe it's like it's physical. And I mean, it's just, and I agree with Paul. If if I had known when Katie came to me and asked me, I might have been like, girl, I'm a little busy because it was a lot. But with each meeting, I just felt closer and closer to the work. I also feel as though it's really, really important. I mean, we know they used to kill poets for their voices. We know that we have to be present in this life and in this next administration, especially. And I think it's important. So it really made the work that much more powerful. And I'm grateful to all of the grace of the editors, and that it was wonderful working with all of you. And Greg, you're just a superstar, man. I'm telling you. You're a superstar. I just, as you were talking, I was like, wait, really? It's only been a year? Like, oh, going into the second year, what? You just really had a process, you had a vision. Katie and Paul had a vision, and we just all really tried to work together. And I do think, honestly, Roxy, Paul, I see Theresa, I see collaborations out of this as well. Like I think that I've met some poets on the West Coast. I knew Katie already, but I didn't know everyone else. And I feel as though we've really built an important spiritual and poetic space. So, and thank all of you. And thanks for your patience, because I know it was a little, you probably had emails bouncing all over the place, but it was a lot to contain. So, you know, we did as well as we could. And I think we all learned a lot too. So thank you all. And thanks for hearing my voice. So this piece I'm going to read is called Blues Political Deceit. It's bad out here. I say it's bad out here for us. Random stranger, gray-haired white man strike up conversation on commuter train platform with stranger dreadlocked black woman. How Friday takes so long to come, like it took so long for freedom. Monday comes too soon, and 48% of the population swing red. He say, it's bad out here. I say, for all of us, word. He is afraid, random gray-haired white man afraid. Someone in Iowa Plains will respond to something said, like devil chants from Beatle records, random violent domestic acts, safety not ever sanctity, for voting folks like me and him, powerless on the commuter train platform, fear in his deep blue eyes, word. Too hella bad out here when race triggers bigger than Reconstruction era starvation. And baby, we all need some bread to eat. Oat bread costs too much. So we wonder, is Wonder Bread what it is? What we'll eat when higher education means bankruptcy court, underwater mortgages, banks charging homeowners legal bank fees when they protest rights to fight shots fired by financial bullies. No modification for you. Bank says, don't give a fuck about government policy. No modification for you. Just give up that underwater homeowner cash. Baby, you better give it up. From homeowner to homeless, and it's bad out here for us. I say it's really bad out here for us. Thank you. Thank
Bless,
you.
bless you, Aliyah. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
So the list is in the chat. If you could just tell us who you are and where you're from and read the poem. And we have Brad Buchanan next, followed by Carla Stein and Charles Goodrich. So feel free to pop in, people.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, this is Brad Buchanan. I'm in Sacramento, California. Just want to say thank you to everybody involved. And this piece is called The Season of Mass Deportations. The mass deportations will happen one by one. People will be snatched from the houses, apartments, and churches that have hidden them, from families that welcomed them. They will need to be gathered by force. They will need to be threatened, coerced, and rooted out from the community where they have existed for many days. There will be no one to replace them. Each apple will be plucked by hand from the living tree and told it is rotten, while many others lie on the ground, worm-eaten and intent on revenge. Thank you.
Okay, I guess I'm up next. My name's Carla Stein. I'm living in Nanaimo, British Columbia, which is on Vancouver Island. I'm still a US citizen and voted in the last election and was pretty devastated, along with so many other people, as to the outcome of that election, and was incredibly grateful to see that all of the editors and other poets coming together to voice the absolute devastation that this may bring to our country and hopefully not the entire world. This poem that I'm going to read is very, very short. It came from a new kind of approach that I was trying, which was to be out in the world and make that meld with what I was writing. And so did a Google search about deportation, and a whole lot of words came up. And this very short poem, which is called Still on the Books, came out of that effort. Still on the books. The Alien Enemies Act of 1798 remains active, does not require a hearing to apprehend, restrain non-citizens prior to detention or removal without asking or caring. Citizens have been targeted. Americans of Japanese descent bear witness. Thank you.
Thanks, Carla. Charles, are you ready?
I am. I'm in awe of your effort. Thank you so much to the editors, and thanks to all the poets who jumped in and responded. I absolutely rely on poetry to help me get through the next 4 years and beyond. And the other thing I always rely on is gardening. So this is something that I use to balance myself in bad times. This is called Cold Soil. I'm listening to the latest returns on the radio. The country seems bent on re-electing greed. To salvage the hour, I break up my garlic, slitting the skin around the neck with a paring knife, pressing my thumbs in beside the stem, prying out one clove at a time. As I drop each clove into the bowl, I mutter a string of prayers and curses, breaking up garlic as an irreverent rosary. I have to plant this garlic before dark. The moon is not right, the weather is against me, but I need to put my hands in the dirt today. I need to sow something. I'd be smarter to wait a few days until the rain lets up, but I can't wait. Some things can only be sown into coldness. I pry open another head and another, praying to the earth to transform my anger into compassion, or at least into garlic.
Thanks, Charles. Next on the list, Cherie Brown. Are you in the house?
Yes, I am.
Your turn.
Hey. Yeah, this is Cherie Brown. And thank you to the editors and poets of this anthology. I'm in Longmont, Colorado, outside of Denver, and this is Waffle House. Don't you ever get tired of this shit? This American Civil War? Endless talk of the boogeyman next door? Let's go to the great American side of equality. In the Waffle House, we're all equal. Okay to be queer, walkered, ancient, drunk, wrong. Here over our hash browns, we call truce.
Thanks, Cherie. Cynthia Manick, you're here.
I am here. Thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
Cynthia.
Hi, Leah. This is Cynthia Manick coming from you from Brooklyn, New York. Thank you, editors, for having me and my poetry. As we get into tomorrow and the next 4 years, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Hug a baby you know. Take care of yourself, okay? I'm doing a suite of Idris Elba poems. This poem is to Idris Elba and it's called Dear Idris Number One, Blues Geometry. Idris, sometimes a mood lingers like fingerprints, like it's a carrying place, a song at the edge of your teeth, and I don't want it to feel like home. This in-between state of react but live. Every day we're asked to conjure breath, avoid ego and melancholy, and do self-care. Avoid thorns on discount roses. Steer clear of dreams that come too fast and linger. Act like our hearts aren't a lemon half squeezed and cars aren't on fire. And don't forget the hustle by way of Republican bootstraps. And if my kin could speak, it would be in alto and use the word gobsmacked and probably mofo. And yes, these are grown folk blues, far from star prints, double-legged shadows, and carrion birds. Thanks, everyone.
Beautiful. All right. Dane Cervine, are you ready?
I am. Welcome. I just love this coming together of poets. I wanted to say that of the three short prose poems included, I'm just going to read one of them. They're from a series called The Democratic Dreams of Animals and Gods, where I look at scientific and animal maps for the same kind of democratic processes we're going through. So this poem's called Where Are Our Grandmothers? Pods of orcas look to young females to lead them. Navigating vast seas, hunting for food, they communicate via echolocation, whistles, clicks, pulsed calls, low-frequency pops, jaw claps. Matrilineal, sociable, their sophisticated hunting techniques and vocalizations are passed across generations in language all their own. Unique sounds that resemble moans, trills, squeaks, creaking doors, varied in wavelength and volume, even pattern. But when food is scarce, the whales turn to older females to lead their clans. It takes generations to know enough to survive a changing world. A mother to understand what is at stake, a grandmother when you've completely lost your way. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Okay, next we have Deborah Bacharach, Faith Paulsen, and Henry Crawford. Are you all here?
I'm here.
Perfect.
So I'm Debbie Bacharach. I'm from Seattle, and I didn't realize how much I needed poetry until I was here with you right now. And thank you, Cynthia, for saying take care of yourself, because that's what this event is doing for me. I'm going to read two poems, both of which I wrote the week, or I started at least the week of the election. I am afraid of the answer. A couple months before the election, at a Comfort Inn in South Dakota, I wait for the elevator with a white-haired white woman and her pressed jeans white man. I am a white woman. Though my hair might be too curly for some folks' comfort, I can nice with the best of them. I open with, "Where are you heading?" and follow up, "Oh, I love the state fair." Okay, I've only been a half a dozen times, but I get into it, and not just in an ironic, God, look at these yokels kind of way. Quilts make me think of standing before the Tiffany stained glass at the Met with my New York grandma, all that glowing color, and my other grandma saving every scrap after the pogroms, tiny stitches, a way of love. I listen when a 4-H club member teaches me caretaking, for pig hooves, a high grit emery board. I tiptoe through barns, choke on rabbits and goats. For some, this is the smell of home. I tell her my family is on her way to Chicago. Chicago, she says, it's so crowded. And I know the way my friend tells me she always knows when she has smacked into a where are you from, go back door. Crowded is code for black, brown, Jewish. Kill them before they kill you. I try to picture us all at the fair, tearing into all American deep fried everything, stretching out our arms to repair the world.
All right. Who's next on our list
I
here?
think
Faith
it's,
Paulsen.
yep. Mm-hmm.
Hi, I hope you can hear me. I'm Faith Paulsen. I'm in just outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where it is snowing. And I'm so grateful for this gathering and for this opportunity. So thank you so much. I'm going to read my poem, which was inspired back last March. The Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore fell and became a metaphor. And this is my poem. Anthem for the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Like an anthem for which we stand, you stand for now, unbending concrete and steel over the darkened river. Workers clinging to your spine patch potholes with black pitch while, like a ritual, the cargo ship approaches, its hull heading into clarity and cold. By dawn's early light, your high wire act has crashed into waves. Running lights blink, engines grind, choke, then concede to drift an unmoored, stately pace. Helpless to halt the inexorable, a masala of dialects pluming into night, the desperate mariners, Mayday transmissions stop traffic, parse minutes. Yet the force will not be blunted. The mallet of momentum, hammer blow of knots, the ship's pitiless march. You shudder. A puppet piano unstrung, clatter bone onto bone, men spill, tools pitch, avalanche into the Patapsco. In the darkness, cries drown, unheard. Shipping containers, brightly logoed with block letters, rock, dumbfounded, under the zigzag rubble. This morning, an unbridged span, a hush of disbelief. Over the river, Baltimore keeps its widow's watch of grief. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Faith. Henry Crawford.
Okay, I am Henry Crawford, and I'm coming from Silver Spring, Maryland. And I want to thank everyone. What a great event this is. And I wanted to catch the sort of mental twist of this person. And this is the Dream Weaver. They always say, "Sir, do you know how electricity works?" And I tell them, my grandfather invented this stuff, like Don Amici and the late great Spencer Tracy, who invented the light bulb. You know, they don't want you to have those light bulbs. They want to take your lights, your toilets, your trucks away from you. But I won't let them. I'm the guy back in the day who stole fire from the gods. You know, Charlton Heston. And he made a burning bush and he gave us the Ten Commandments. And we all remember that. I saw it all in a movie theater in Brooklyn. It was an American theater, all decked out in gold. And you know, they didn't let everyone into that theater, but they had a special balcony for people you wouldn't want to sit next to. Now they want to take that away. Fill that theater with people, you know, people who eat your dogs and cats. They come in buses. They bus them in from countries and cities. Those people probably never saw a television set. They never had a car. You know, people who need to be put up in that balcony. Keep them quiet. And I am the sheriff. You all remember our beautiful Mayberry. People tell me, sir, only you can bring it back. Aunt B and Opie too. He was a friend of the Fawns. Now, there was a man, a beautiful man. He jumped the shark back when gas was 50 cents a gallon. And America was only for Americans. Thank you.
Thanks, Henry. Fascinating to feel all these poems come back that we read 3, 4, 5, 7 times and hear them in the voice they were meant to be heard in. Beautiful. Jennifer Phillips, John Maney, Julie Bruck, Kit Robinson are all next.
Hi, great to be with you all. Thank you so much, editors, and thank you for this wonderful event. It's heartening in these times. My poem is about war inside, war in the nation, war in the world, in all sorts of places, and it's called "We Think We Are Setting the Clocks Back." We think we are setting the clocks back, but time only jerks forward like a collision while we try to go back to sleep. It is as dark as if night had won the toss and pocketed the territory of day. You and I are no longer hoping for much, trudging over this tundra of fretted plans lying awry. So I tell again the ancient tale of Esau swapping his birthright for a bowl of soup. In the old tongue, a mess of pottage, which describes us as well as anything. And the brother crouched in a hide to trick his father's flailing hand and failing sight. It passes the time waiting for morning. I like about winter that it brings back the shape of the trees. So what they lose passes as another beauty. Memory is a kind of winter, bringing back the shapes of the dead so we can almost forget how naked they are, and we without them. But oh, their beauty. The right hand speaks to the left of life, while the left hand steals and murders, or, surprised by this, lets die. Geraniums rot in the frost and other lost gestations, sucking wounds. We can almost hear the wailing. I've never been a believer in too late, nor you. But since the war, we can't find our houses, our streets, even our city. Your enemy lives under your wife's floor, your doctor's desk, your children's school. This is the tale of unfortunate collateral and a myth of saving. The clocks have stopped. We want to go lurching back, but have been launched already toward detonation. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Beautiful. John Maney, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Um, Thank you all for this wonderful anthology, for the editors, Carbonation Press. Especially thank you to my beautiful sister, Aliyah Abdullah-matta, who helped me to this project. Um, my poem is I'm John Maney, calling from the Bronx, New York. My poem is To Tell the Truth. It starts with a quote from Nikki Giovanni. If now isn't a good time for the truth, I don't see when we'll get to it. Clear, warm spring day, southern sunshine, bird song, weeks before Easter. 450 Mulberry Street, Memphis. The Rain Motel, you have stories to tell. Your blood-stained balcony, bellows scratch record renditions, 1972, near future recording of America the Beautiful, sung by Ray Charles, who, though blind, saw enough to know If you plan a poor people's march in 1968, you may just get shot. If you dare speak of racial justice, America don't always act beautiful. Martin Luther King Jr. knew his days were numbered. It made him think even more it was time to tell the truth. Everybody's days are numbered. Sometimes silence is a razor so sharp it makes no noise when it murders. 57 years hence, New York City subway. Jordan Neely, homeless, yelling, I am thirsty, I am hungry. Quieted by chokehold. He died telling his truth. In that moment, in that moment, in that moment, his truth was our truth. We too are hungry. We are thirsty for compassion. Like him, our days too are numbered. Compassion is not a political thing. Justice is not a thing to be sold. 8 years from now, will our children say they knew the truth but followed lies? Will they angrily muse they knew better but didn't do better? Will their world be more beautiful or made worse because of us? Thank you.
Beautiful, John. Thanks for being here, man. Julie, Bruck, Kid Robinson, Juanita Harris are the next three.
Hi, can you see me? Because I have you on full screen.
I think we've got you on full screen now.
Oh, okay. I'm Julie Bruck. I'm in San Francisco. I'm a Canadian who's been here for 28 years, 27 years. And with each regime change and disaster, my family looks at me, I'm the only Canadian citizen, and says, well, you're our ticket. And we're still here. And I'm still staring out the same window I was staring out when I first moved here. I love it here. And it's the window that I was looking out the morning after the election. It's a very short poem. After the election, the sun came up. Diablo winds had blown in overnight. This is not a metaphor. Yesterday, I'd have said gusts happen to the neighbor's tree, turning each leaf wild, a pup with the zoomies. Today, the branches are whips. They twist and pummel. They turn against each other and themselves.
Thanks, Julie. There may be a few wanting to go with you to Canada. So maybe you should put your email address in the chat.
Well, I have to marry everybody. We'll have a big ceremony.
Something to look forward to. Thanks, Julie. Kit, you're next, man.
All right. Thank you, Paul, and thanks to Katie and Greg, and especially Roxy for inviting me to participate in this group, and to everybody for being part of it. The poem I'm going to read is called Getting Some Exercise. Getting some exercise out in the yard, the prison house of linkage binds you back to the past, a chronicle of rocks, hard pressed by time, when only a miracle can save you from sunset, as beautiful as it may be. Lasting impressions rework the body to release prime numbers in an arithmetic of movement, not dissimilar to those of the 60s when the shit hit the fan. Solidarity raised one beautiful fist, nothing to lose but your chairs. A working premise is enough to go on. From there, you must find your own way. Improvisation is how we live, a measure of the distance from prescription, angling out to the borders of reasonable expectation. We always expect to reawaken when we lie down to fall asleep. Sleep well, we tell each other. The result, emerging from dreams, a kind of clearing.
Thanks, kid. Nicely done, man.
Paul, Juanetta Harris cannot be with us today. I would like to read her poem. She is incarcerated in a Texas prison, and that she could actually find a way to come to our Zoom amazed me. But as it turns out, she could not manage to negotiate the barriers it would take for her to be here. So I would like to read her poem. It is called Letter to Our Descendants. Fear works in America. I write this from behind walls, where we've always known what happens when power mistakes cruelty for strength. Fear works in America like a spell cast backward, making us pine for days when some of us were property and others were invisible. Fear works in America when we trust a man who lies as naturally as breathing to tell us who to fear while he picks our pockets clean. Fear works in America when we forget every lesson paid for in blood and bone about where hatred leads and what others really means. Fear works in America, but love works harder still. In every raised fist, every spoken truth, every refused silence. From my cell, I see you, future child of this moment, reading these words and wondering how we let fear work so well that we became what we feared most.
Thanks, Katie. Nicely done. You know, it's like a bit of Sam to have an incarcerated person represented in this book because he taught in prisons for so many years with Gary Snyder in Alaska, many of them. Nice work. Thank you. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock Pacific time, we'll have another Zoom reading because of the size, what, 105 or 6 poets. So we broke it up into 2 readings and one of them on Inauguration Day. But I know that Lorin Medley's in the house. Lorin from Comox, BC, welcome.
Hi, thanks, Paul. And I'm really happy to be here with everyone. On the day of the election, I was traveling back home from Seattle to Vancouver Island on the Clipper ferry and coming back from the Cascadia Poetry Festival. My poem is called What Now? In the space between poetry and ballots cast, a split-toned tenor fathered in. Wet reed clamped the mouthpiece, fierce, placed a word, ampersand. The day will write itself, we promised, over 21 small songs, sake and salmon collars at Wabi Sabi. What if? Readings at Newcomb Vivarium beside a 60-foot nurse log caged at the border between ecology and art. Western hemlock on life support. Not a flicker of bird here, just the human predicament. Recalled Pacific wren's song, much larger than itself. Ink, ink of nuthatch, wind and snow on skin. Bob Pyle greened things up with Walapa, no stranger to bioregions or butterflies. In photographs, we all showed up green in the phosphorid light. On Pine Street, a water strider moved like a man, pulled at the cloth of his body, mimetic being and becoming. Bare-assed November. The MGM lion roared 3 times, looked to the right, then back to center. November 3rd, 24, Quincy Jones died in his sleep. Our sleep uneasy. In dreams, we flew into the reflection of trees in windows of well-intended office buildings. So real, so green. South of Point No Point, Liberty swam in the reasonable minds of whales. When the clipper slowed, you could hear God enter the room. Thank you.
Thanks, Lorin. Way to capture the Dharma position of that moment there. Luther, Jett, are you in the house?
Yes, I am.
Your turn,
Hi,
man.
Luther Jett. So where I am, it is snowing and it is going to snow. I woke up the morning of November 6th and the paper told me something I sort of already knew. And I kind of said, well, I can't write about this. I don't have any words inside me. And a few hours passed and this came, and the poem is called Empty. Worst part of empty, how it won't look you in the eye. Easy to fill a salt shaker or a hole in the ground. Not so simple to fill a hand that won't open. Those muddy old boots, they're waiting by the door for your feet to fill them. Thank you.
Amen, Luther. Amen. Let's get dirty with it. Murray Brown, Matt Treese, Petra Cuppers, Rob Lewis, Robert Lashley, Rodrigo Toscano among the next readers.
Hi, I'm Mari Brown. I'm in Boulder, Colorado. I just want to say I wanted to wear this hat today, but instead I'll use this one. Thank you for including me in this. Thank you for all your words. It feels much more real and sane to live in them. This poem is called Doorknob. Fear has its hand on the doorknob to your daughter's bedroom. Fear is a painter. The earth revolves around the sun. Byron Katie says, when I argue with reality, I lose, but only 100% of the time. I want to learn the difference between imagination and reality. I want to earn the difference between imagination and fear. Fear is a painter, perhaps our greatest American master. Galileo knew the earth revolved around the sun, but when the Inquisition put its fingers on his bedroom doorknob, because I was afraid of physical pain. Fear is a painter. What is our imagination for 100% of the time? What color are the curtains in your daughter's bedroom? Are they the color of physical pain? Fear said, if she weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. The earth revolves around my son. The earth revolves around my daughter. I will not hand over my daughter's body. I will not hand over my son's mind. What is our imagination for? Revolution. Revolution 100% of the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt Treese, you're on, man.
Thanks, Paul. And thanks to everyone who helped put this anthology together. This is the kind of more meaningful response in some ways to what's happening, not only here, but all over the globe at the moment. So I'm going to read a piece that that's in the anthology. I wrote it in 2020 when I was keeping a plague year journal. It's called Acoustic Treatment Number 80, with an epigraph from Stevie Nicks. When the rain washes you clean, you'll know. We have returned to the days of ash, the days of orange and purple sky. We've been unable to breathe for so long. How many years have we let this fire burn? We are burning inside out like we were years ago when the tower card was permanently etched in our DNA. Oh, Prometheus, if we only knew what it takes, this fire, this Armageddon, this Ragnarok, this full circle. Oh, Virgil, where have you taken us in this mortal life? Oh, ghost of Christmas yet to come, we have come again to the last days of human history, to that horizon threshold of a new world. And still the naysayers, the resentful hordes who desire their chains, threaten to drag us back. We've got some difficult days ahead. Like Dr. King, we've seen the promised land. It's within our reach, our eyes to have seen the glory of the coming. May we get there soon, feel the rain. When it comes, when it washes us, we'll know. We'll know.
Thanks, Matt. Beautiful. Patrick Cuppers, are you here?
I'm here. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for all the work of putting this together. Thank you specifically to Roxi for calling me into this circle. I am glad and honored to be here. And I'm reading a poem from Diver Beneath the Street, which is my current poetry book in which I am visiting murder sites in Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor, and Detroit. And here I am taking us to a site in Detroit. Lyndhurst, between Gratiot and Chambers, Detroit. Plans are underway to board up vacant structures within a mile radius of the 3 locations where the women's bodies were found, Detroit Mayor Duggan's Chief of Staff Alexis Wiley said Thursday, reports George Hunter in a piece called Possible Serial Murders Shine Light on Detroit's Vacant Homes in the Detroit News, June 7th, 2019. Head on, I drive past a parking lot. Next, a demolished factory. Empty lot. House paint. Blue paint. Long empty lot. Vegetation years old, reaching to the sun. Sunshine smell. Tree smell. Grass smell. Old weed. Recently demolished house, foundation still visible as chalk lines. 3 houses tight together, porches angled out into the sun. Peoria Avenue, a large house, red. 2 beautiful trees, 6 houses, an enclave together, cars in the driveway, open. 2 houses with cars, no one is in the street. I am honoring her steps. She is alien to me. There is time and there is space, strata, terrain, terror. This is a sparse, toothless story. There are dusty city flowers. This is a drive-by story, a stranger story, a momentary halt. I am not drifting. I am not here at night. There was the moon in April, and beneath it, the tops of trees. Porch boards moaned and splintered if you stepped wrong. This was not a shelter, just a place out of view. There is nothing to see here now. Then it was staged, face down, spread to liquid, used condom. There are flowers at some times of the year. Moonscapes of asphalt, driven up, volcanoes erupt. The year they found her in that house, city police searched 3,000 abandoned properties. Lay the copper lines of 3,000 homes together. How far will you circle the earth? Beneath the soil, a salt mine. Salt and bones and copper and the earth's blood. Thank you.
Thanks, Petra. Thanks for being part of this work. Rob Lewis, Robert Lashley, Rodrigo Toscano, Theresa Whitehill, and Zach Charles are all coming up. Rob Lewis.
Thank you, editors, for doing this, and thank you, everyone, for this beautiful poetry. I have felt a little lost with going on politically, and somehow this just at least makes it more real and helps to live it, to be in it.
This poem is called The Return. Our senses, nothing more than that. What's still at home inside reality. That's what waits for us now. Time to look-see, sniff at the words hanging in the air, taste their meanings, hear the thinning of the planet's blood. The sun, meanwhile, never lies, and the trees that reach toward it have never lost the translation. Even the scraggly crab apples in the meridian, what landscapers call the hell, and repeat it. Mantra of what is, the silent storm of truth. Du Fu left the palace faces, the silken officials with their long fingernails and plots, sat beside creeks just to see them hurry toward home. The ocean earth, home of inward waters, what is its advice? All those in danger, in the path of saws or missiles, or bending in the fields beside us as we drive to work, what do they look at us with? And what do we stand on when we answer? What is the power that breathes, that is inside us no matter what? Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Rob. Robert Lashley, are you ready to read?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. I was glad to be a part of this process. Glad to see everyone. I'll read one poem. This poem is called Landscape with Corner Winos Who Refuse God's Offer to Write Another New Testament After the Election. Not Keisha or Nisi or Tasha by Project Graveyards. Not Ray in his welded lungs, nor Bernice with conditions. Not old Deacon Willie in Zidovine bottles that in death become his temples. No sergeants by their dead seas, too tired to witness you, turning by your sound to their sons. Not Big Craig or Nuck Nuck upon gangster second comings. No yawns and mythologies of hardness and survival for those taken in and out of that life. You talk of ground angels, yet ghetto birds cross your people too vexed by sirens. You call on them to testify, to talk on you, to endure, yet they disintegrate once more into dust. Not now, November man, by these hills of tumbled dice. Not now with your holy words and adjectives of overcoming. Not now with miscellanias of your absence and sacrifice by the trap house and the bar. Dawn draws you a map to rise and escape, sir. A time signature, but not a star. Thank you very much.
Robert, thank you for your contribution as an editor and as a poet. I'm grateful you're here and that you read today. Thanks, man. Rodrigo Toscano, your turn. Rodrigo.
Hi, I'm on. I just audio here. Hey, so this poem is called Männerbunde. It's a German word which roughly translates to brotherhoods or male leagues. Männerbunde. Guns, shedfuls of them, you'll see, will not be the deciding factor in the big shift towards hemispheric autarky. No amount of rounds and clips hoarded in safes will rewrite labor laws that integrate Canadian, American, and Mexican biopower around a vision of itself, protective economically, expansive culturally, interposed maps of watersheds, routes of produce, conduits of clean energy lasered in on healthy work and stable housing. The big shift doesn't require belly-crawling sharpshooters, grown boy camps, Männerbunde, sing-alongs pining after dreams of becoming sovereign when all's entangled already, except not formally and equitably set to a higher order resource conscious, confident future, commandeering hemispheres' collective wealth, material and psychic, brave projection, bulwark against this anarcho-tyranny, faux nationalism, yacht excursion for winners of rigged outcomes, swamp monsters becoming great again, promoting shedfuls of ammo, camo, grown-up boy, lingerie, boudoir, mannerbunda, posing on towering trucks, performing sovereign when all's entangled already, but on a wobbly base with sideshows, gun shows, crouching, cowering, last gasps of sovereign king, every man a serf, owning nothing, not mineral deposits, not beds of technology, not downstream planning, educational cargo, material and psychic, oblivious to rising forces, integrated, autarkic, prosperous homelands to thrive in, where crotch grasping, gun toting, enfeebled copes flicker out year by year as hemispheric power looks outward with straight backs toward other autarkic regions working on integration of a higher order, looking outwards, mindfully negotiating globes, collective wealth, material and psychic. And yeah, a few museums of nation states and even kinky cosplay might be entertaining on occasion to remind us of the age of anarcho tyranny and its camo lingerie butlers on a leash. Mannerbunta.
Sign me up, man. Thanks, Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Bring on another editor here, Theresa Whitehill, T.
Hey, Paul. My poem is called Condoms, Naloxone, and starts with a quote from the Portuguese poet Eugenio de Andrade. But at every gesture they made, a bird was born from their fingers and dazzled, vanished into space. Condoms, naloxone. What I have found myself carrying in my purse in this angle of sunlight at dawn, in the first quarter of the 21st, be it lap or century or progress through a canto of 100 verses, in which half of them will be mangled or disordered, or might survive written on skins used to hold buildings together when they aren't suffered for food. It hardly matters. History is washing us. But non-slip treads, light bulbs, single servings of the flanks of herd beasts. Love, of course, is welcome, and music fills out what time forgot to bargain for while it still existed. Injectables that can reverse an overdose, leach fields, pie crust. You have to be able to pull these things out of your shoulder bag at a moment's notice. And in order to do so, you have to remain standing, to endure love and its horrible freight, its adversaries. Evgenio, I say, give us access to all of your joy, to all of those poems in which you carry us on waves of first kisses and labia blossoming. Let this be a time of lovers and of the celebration of musical innovation and the hypnotic inevitability of defiance and of tenderness. The first aid kits of this time will be filled with such life-saving, soul-mending, tranquilizing, marsupial, sucking, healing powders and tools, and constantly renewable preludes to quiet afternoons. Picnic food for unexpected and spontaneous stoppages on the freeways, in which crowds pour over the infrastructures of light and science, swarming the courthouses, celebrating justice, enumerating the bygone species, laying claim to feverish, mysterical shopping excursions, in which we ravage the shelves of the local markets of all their mythopoetic canned tunas and evanescent lubrications and camping gears. Packets of fizzies that can be combined with electronic votive candles to create microprocessors and run defunct energy systems, emergency blankets that can double as morning after poems, oranges in transmutable sacks, shields, condoms, naloxone.
Nice tea. Morning after poems. Zach Charles, are you still here?
Hey,
Give it to us, man.
I'm grateful to be in this community with you all today, tomorrow, and in the future as we work towards the hemispheric autarky step by step. 20th of November, 2024, 7:16 p.m., winter storm. 1. Last night's bomb cyclone. Uprooting winds, alki, and up the Cascades. Snow and fog of crisp new breath. 2. I'm anxious even to write this, but if it is crap, at least in it there might be a seed. Because that almost a hurricane was nothing compared to what hit the Sonoran deserts, Basil's Italian restaurant last Saturday. Not really Sonoran, more Tucson. Every saguaro for 50 miles flung its arms up in shock, and I'm only telling you a fraction of the story. From now on, Pappy's birthday weekend marks the first winter storm. 15-16 November, waters warming, fueling the shaking of moisture and air, when Eloise called Jane a cunt and a slut, and threatened to kick out Delilah, too, from the family, after one Cosmo, for the old lady, who swears by their lukewarm spaghettios. Bo called them spaghettios, and the whole waitstaff laughed. And she swears she shouldn't have to deal with this, and swears all us motherfuckers are out to get her, dangerous immigrants, into her life, swearing the kids need to see this, and looking at her across the table, the colors of blonde and orange, and victimhood swearing, remind me of a different orange-colored one swearing through $200 million of ads that they will instruct via executive order every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age, with every word forcing their personal insecurities without consent onto queer and immigrant family histories, families like that of Angel forced to have these conversations. Get to know your rights. Get ready. Talk to your kids. Look into how you're going to handle being detained, being deported. Swears like walls that uproot saguaros. One source swore page 6 to secrecy. Their hair color can vary wildly from dark blonde to bright orange, depending on how long their hairdresser can get them to sit still and let the color do its job. Gil Scott Heron said, "Nobody's fighting, because nobody knows what to say." But if I learned anything last Saturday, after Eloise marched in a huff out of that dimly lit, with faux stained glass lamps soap opera of a fucking dinner, and the waiters brought out the cake, and we sang fucking happy birthday, I learned my family is fucking fighting with no fear of deportation, and words don't mean much to folks who never stop fucking talking, and fewer words, and staying still long enough to maintain eye contact means more when there just ain't much to say. Yes, Eloise, you should leave. Knowing when. That's the lesson in honesty George Washington teaches. I keep sighing, watching this storm roll in slow motion. It's deja vu in my human memory all over again. As Pappy said, this must be Phoebe's revenge from beyond the grave. I and the climates, the Constitution, that noble piece of paper as Gil Scott Heron called it, whipped to shreds by the wind and fiery hail and rain. Meanwhile, if Moses were to come down from the mountain's peak, right now, they would smash the stones they carried upon witnessing all the golden cow haired Eloises and day one dictators claiming to be the closest to God, claiming to be anything of anything but the dirt and shit and stories left by those before them. Those same pieces of God we're all made from. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. So glad you're part of this, man. What a beautiful occasion this is today. I'm so happy that you're all here. So happy that you're part of this and that we're doing something and hopefully creating, new connections, new networks, new synaptic connections in many ways for the global brain. And I thank you also for bringing up Gil Scott Heron, because obviously for those who know Gil, Winter in America was a Gil Scott Heron tune in 1974. So calling the book Winter in America again was something that occurred to me right away. And Katie was kind enough to say sounds like a good title to me now that you've explained it. Here are my self-care tips for the new Winter in America. Breathe. Practice the self. Walk. Take the bus. Vacate social mierda. Be careful to whom you surrender. Imagine what the mind of the creek would advise as your next move. Stay sober. No amount of wine can erase the enabled hate. Don't worry. Worry is a misuse of the imagination Deprima knows as holy. Grieve, then organize. Recognize your bioregion. Ginkgo leaves still fall. Watch them fall. Breathe again. Vow kindness. Constant creation of the self is a tricky mess. It's winter in America again, but always was to many mammals. Vow to end winter in America for them. Adopt C.A. Conrad's intrusion technique. Squeeze toes. Intrusions are temporary, as is every winter. Don't wait for a hero. The hero era's over. Meditate on the image of a Valkyrie in her teacher, swan, and/or warrior forms. Eat lighter. Put a face on your food. Hyper-local. Listen to Carla Bley. Forge local spaces of difference and social tactics of resistance. Get acupuncture. Breathe mugwort. Bolster electrolytes. Sing the body electric. Build social housing. Enact Medicare for all. Do not patronize monopolies. The best response to a poem is another poem. How to live in a moment that is at once daily and mythic. Sit zazen. Do latihan. Keep a war journal. Contemplate. Not so much content, but atmosphere. Blue mental health down by the duck potato. Social doses of penis envy. Envision regime change. Get money out of politics. Oppose oligarchy. No, there are no good billionaires. Tantra felicidad. Free Palestine. Free Leonard Peltier. Hear indigenous elders. Honor ancestral homelands. Light sage. Smudge everything. Notice the crimsons and golds and veins and fallen maple leaves. Note your breath. Try not to bite anyone. Avoid AI. AI is the aspartame of consciousness. Show up for yourself. Sing. Whistle. Hear the creek. Get your teeth cleaned. Get a soak. Do yoga. Kapalabhati breathing. Shining skull breath. Light a white candle. Practice sound poetry. Savor vowel sounds. Listen. Find your place where you are. Begin practice. Actualize the fundamental point. Commit. Seek harmony and harmonious intersections. Forget the self. Deepen gratitude. Become a mammal patriot. Finish. And to finish our occasion, we have Katie Sarah Zale, my co-editor, partner in justice. And what a joy it is to work with this woman. Of course, I always put her to work when she calls me, and she might begin to resent that after a while, but here she is, and here we go.
I'm not sure what to say after that, Paul. But thank you. Yes, it was a joy. God, I appreciate it. It was hard work, but I'm gonna say this. Yeah, I really loved every moment. You know, it's I hope all of you get a chance to work closely on poetry in such a project as this. Um, this poem I'm about to read is after William Stafford. He wrote a poem called For My Young Friends Who Are Afraid. And my poem is called For My Friends Who Are Not Afraid. It is time to be afraid, a time to look deep into the first person you meet. Stay silent until their fear locks with yours. Steady one another as your knees falter, as the struggle to find words brings you down. What you fear takes you into yourself. Here we are, each alone. We are now the country we asked for. We carried each other here. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. Nicely done. We got that done in less than 90 minutes. Thank you all for your discipline on that. And more importantly, thank you for being involved in this work. Uh, the best response to a poem is another poem was Daphne Marlett quoting Phyllis Webb. And I hope that that's what that this is what it creates in you, that it's generative and that we create and we seek not to wallow in it. It's so easy to wallow in what seems is going to seem like hell for the next 4 years, but find the spaces where your heaven is. And if you're down, connect with somebody. Connect with your community. I'm all about building community, and I'm glad you're part of this one. There are going to be many events that happen with this book. We're working on an AWP reading. There's a reading in Seattle at Seattle University on February 4, and I know Roxy's got about 5 or 6 readings she's working on. So
yeah, Lit Balm, February, April 26th and 27th. Bookshop Santa Cruz probably on April 1st and the 15th. Kit and I are working on something in Oakland. I'm trying to get something at City Lights in San Francisco. But if you're coming to AWP, please, please, please keep in touch with us because we think we have something there. Thanks.
I think we do. Pablo Baller's at Cal State LA, and he's going to hook us up with a venue. Bless him. The library has been already taken. He was going to get us the library, but somebody has that. So, Greg Bem, thank you. Thank you, co-editors. If you are looking to get a bunch of books for a bookstore, Greg Bem is the person to talk to. And once again, thank you for being part of this work. I'll hang out for a few minutes to talk if anyone wants to chat, but otherwise, we're grateful for your presence here. We're grateful to be able to put you in this work and grateful to those who just came to listen. We'll be here again in the same Zoom room tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And so there will be some other readers on that occasion. Thank you.